All right, guys, welcome back to Undisputed Interviews. Today's guest is UFC featherweight veteran Westin Wilson, WW. So a little confusing at times. How are you today, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was telling my friend that was interviewing you. He was like Wilson Weston. I was like, no, other way around. So it's like he was like,
I got two last
oh,
names. Yeah, I've got
yeah.
two
He was
last
like,
names.
yeah, you know. But my first question for you is, how did you get into the MMA scene, the UFC scene, and like what made you realize that it's what you want to do, like to become a professional fighter?
So this was I'm 36. I saw my first UFC fights back in like 2000, like Evan Tanner versus Tito Ortiz, getting
Okay,
slammed,
okay.
unconscious, everything like that. I think I was in fifth, maybe sixth grade. My dad worked for the DEA. There's a guy named Jim Waddell who worked in my dad's office, and he was like, "Oh man, this UFC stuff, it's the coolest thing ever." I lived in Oklahoma at the time, and everybody was like big Bill Goldberg fans because he's from Oklahoma, and WWE and
Yeah,
WCW, like that was like the biggest thing back then. And my dad was like, "No, if you're gonna watch anything, it's gonna be MMA because it's real. Wrestling's fake." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, and so yeah, I kind of got introduced to it then, and then in my freshman year of high school, I had some friends, a couple of friends that were into it, and so like we watched The Ultimate Fighter, and we watched all the UFCs that we could watch that were free at the time. YouTube had just come out too, so we were like watching everything on YouTube.
yeah.
Um, and we moved to Brazil. My what would have been my senior year, I couldn't wrestle anymore, and so my dad and my mom were like, "We'll let you do MMA. Go find a gym and sign up." And so went out. I started training at Brazilian Top Team uh, around the same time Anderson Silva was there, and that's where I got my start. I was in the Sao Paulo top team, Brazilian top team branch. I think Anderson and Big Nog and all them, they were in the Rio gym. But yeah, so that was how I got my start though, was as a 16, 17-year old kid in Brazil.
Yeah, did you ever get to spar Anderson or Bigfoot? You ever get to, like roll on the mats with them or anything?
No, 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 because I was in São Paulo and they were exclusively in Rio.
Oh, okay.
But my Muay Thai coach ended up being in his corner a couple of times shortly thereafter. So they started bringing up my Muay Thai coach to work with Anderson, and then Anderson, California, and all of his training camps and everything were up in California at Black House.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. Like, just starting out MMA and you're training was it so? Was it different gyms? Like, was it just Brazilian top team, just different parts of Brazil?
Yeah,
And you
they
said you
just
were like
like
the Sao
American Top
Paulo.
Team. There, just like American Top Team, there was different branches.
Oh, okay.
So I was living in São Paulo, so I was training in São Paulo, um, and the UFC guys we had, they were like lesser known names.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Dang, that's crazy though. Like the first gym you trained at was like a big gym too. It wasn't like
Yeah,
least known gym.
I used to get whooped up on. My only saving grace was my wrestling. So they would throw me in there to wrestle with guys, but I was also 17, 18, 19. Like those were the years that I was there.
Yeah.
So like I was still a very little boy body. Like I didn't have, man muscles or anything like that. So I was getting thrown around by the adults.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I do boxing. I'm an amateur, so I'm just now hitting 18. So now that you're gonna spar the big boys,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, it's a big
Because-
step up from you know, sparring guys your own age to sparring
Yeah, it's like
adults.
yeah, sparring like 28, 29-year-olds. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm like, damn, I'm not
Yeah.
ready for this.
Yeah, no, uh that's how I was. The only time I've ever been cut was actually training in Brazil. I've never gotten cuts on my face in any fight. and I took an elbow right over the eye, split me open.
Yeah.
I used to get my nose broke all the time. I bleed all the time, but now my nose doesn't bleed anymore. I rarely gotten any cuts. Uh, yeah, it's it was a good time though. It was like I got tough because of it.
Yeah, I've never had like a broken nose or nothing. I've had my nose busted a couple times. I think I just feel like it's part of the game. So
Yeah,
like,
no, 100%, hundred
yeah,
percent.
yeah, because when I was like when I first started it, I remember the first time I complained about it, and my coach was like, "What are you complaining about? Like, you're not gonna be complaining if you were fighting." And I was like, "Oh, that's right." But
Yeah,
you last time you fought June 15th, my birthday, which is crazy.
nice,
So
nice.
your last fight, you won submission first round, I believe, against Jika Saragan.
Yep.
What was your mentality going into that fight? Because I know some fighters, obviously, like losing for you, losing your first two UFC fights. Did you feel like back to the corner, back against the wall? Like if I lose this, they're gonna cut me, or were you like, I just need to take it as a fight, whether I'm coming off a win or a loss?
Yeah, I try to go in there as if we're both 0-0. Um, and try not to pay attention to any records or anything like that. It's hard because we tend to try to we look at our past failures and let that define us.
Hmm.
So I've been working with sports psychologists and we I don't look at my past anymore. I just look at okay, what the present moment is. And I went into that fight just being like, I don't care what happens. I just want to put on a good performance and I want to do something that I'm proud of. I didn't feel like I got to do, my first UFC fight, 10-day notice against Joanderson Brito, and he was on a tear at the time. And so I was proud I got signed. And then Gene Silva, there was just no tape on him. They switched out my opponent, and so I didn't have anything to go off of. So we kind of went into that fight blind with, 3.5 week notice. So Jekka was the first fight where I had a full 8 weeks to prepare and game plan and everything like that. And I went into it. I remember I was telling Wonder Boy and I was telling Coach T going into that fight. I was like, look, I don't care what happens. Like, I don't care if I win. I don't care if I lose. Like, I was like, whatever happens, and if I lose and get cut, I'll bounce back on my feet. Like, people don't realize this. Like, I'm undefeated as a boxer. I'm 1-0 as a pro boxer.
Yes, sir.
I took a 5-day notice against a kid who was 11-1 and beat him in 6 rounds. So I have opportunities outside of MMA if I wanted to. Um, and so I was just like, look, I don't care. Like whatever happens, happens. Like I'll do other things. If I win, then great. And we'll build upon that. So that was kind of my attitude going into it. Like it was just more of a, you know, just go in and perform and don't worry
Yeah.
about the end result. And I think having that mindset really helped me. It didn't mean I didn't want to win. Um, it just I wasn't so focused on winning. I was more focused on performing and you know putting on a performance that I could be proud of, my family could be proud of, and we could look back on it and think like, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, with the John Silver thing, I believe you were meant to fight Gabriel Santos. I believe that was
Yeah.
the. What
Yep.
did you? I mean, that's crazy, right? First fight, Joe Anderson Brito, then they want to give you Gabriel Santos, and obviously we just saw what he did against Jack Jenkins in February. Do you
Yeah.
want to rebook that fight? I mean, I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true that you and Wonder Boy want to both be on the Atlanta card.
Yeah. If we could, that'd be awesome if we were both on Atlanta. Um, I know that we've both asked the UFC for Atlanta. We'll see if we get it. Like we both want to be on Utah too, because Salt Lake's where I went to college and everything like that. And I started my career in Salt Lake. I had my first pro fights in Salt Lake and everything else. So, but I didn't get Salt Lake, and I thought it made sense for me being
Yeah.
like one of the only Mormon fighters to fight in Salt Lake.
Was there like did they even say a name possibly for Salt Lake, or they just
No,
said
no,
no?
I didn't get any names. Yeah.
I mean, I
No.
hope y'all can fight on the Atlanta card because once I graduate high school, that's gonna be my birthday present. I live in Tampa, but they,
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to
I
get
work in
fluency.
Tampa.
I'm trying to
I've
get
got my the company I work for is based out of Tampa, so I
really.
go
What's
out
it
there and I
called?
train all the time. It's called Resident Interface.
Oh, I don't think I heard it. I'm gonna do some research after though. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love
I
to
go out to
be. I'd
Tampa a
love.
couple times a year.
I mean, I'd love to be on the Atlantic card, or not be on the Atlantic card. Go to the Atlantic card. I don't want to fight, but
Yeah,
if y'all could be on the Atlantic card, that would be dope. I love that. Do you have
yeah.
a name in mind?
Um, I fought three strikers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, three heavy-handed, very similar style. Um,
Mm-hmm.
some more refined than Um, I did ask for Ryan Hall, but I don't think Ryan Hall's fighting anymore. And it wasn't out of malice or anything like that. Ryan and I we've trained together quite a bit in the past, and I just think it'd be a fun fight for me. Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't think Ryan's fighting, so it doesn't really matter. Uh, Another like grappler who I think would be good, and we've got around the same experience in the UFC is Eric Silva.
Ooh,
I
okay.
think that's a good and that's an easy. I think that's a relatively safe fight for me, and I'll be able to show off a lot of my game that people haven't seen. So,
Yeah.
um, but I don't know. I don't know what the UFC has planned or wants to do with me. I did have a fight offer in November, but I was working and I wasn't able to train for that fight at the time. So,
Are you allowed to say who
yeah.
it was against or no?
Um,
All good if
rather
not. You don't have to.
not, but
Okay. Okay.
no, I'd rather not. But yeah, I was offered the Macau China. I was offered a fight in Macau China. Just more of
Uh.
like a passing, like if you want it, you can have it type thing.
Yeah.
Problem was I was in South Africa on
Oh
a
wow.
trip the whole month of October. So I was like, there's no way I can fight in November. That gives me 3 weeks of training. So
How short notice was it?
no, they gave me from October to November 23rd. So
Okay.
I would have
Okay.
had a full 8 weeks, but I was already booked for work for the whole month of October in South Africa.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
smart
it's
enough.
hard. I mean, as a business professional, sometimes it's hard to like manage my work schedule with my fight schedule.
Yeah, it just like clashes, like clash of interest, kind of.
No, not a clash. I make more money in my day job than I do in fighting. So it's more of I'm gonna prioritize where I
Yeah.
get more income. Uh, so that's really, and that's been the only clash I've ever had. Was just that November fight.
Okay. Okay. Moving on. Tomorrow night, UFC 314, the main event. We have Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez for the vacant featherweight title. Do you have a prediction for that fight? Do you when you look at that fight on paper, do you see a clear way one of them wins?
Man, Volk. I mean, Volk is just Volk. Like he's good. Diego Lopez is um he's tough. He's got heavy hands. He's got good jujitsu, but he's showing that like he kind of fades in after 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And Volk can go all 5 rounds very, very hard. And that first Islam fight, he went all 5 rounds and arguably won the fight. Um, Short notice was a different story. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Part of me thinks that Volk, part of me goes for Volk because he's the older fighter, and I always respect the older fighter being an older fighter myself.
Hmm.
So, uh, I don't know. I think Volk squeaks out a decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Diego catches him.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, it's a vacant title fight, right? So, we had the champion Ilya Taporia. What do you think about him vacating? Do you think it wasn't because he wanted? Do you just think he couldn't really make the weight anymore, or do you think he just, like he said before, really? thought nobody else was worthy and wanted to see what he could do at 55.
I think that the weight definitely got to him. I think the weight cut got to him a little bit. I also think that he wanted to see new horizons and himself. If you remember, he's missed weight once before at 145, I believe, and he jumped up to 155 for a short time and then went back down to 45.
Oh, okay, yeah, I
I
remember.
could be
Yeah,
wrong though if on the weight miss,
I don't remember if he missed weight, but I
but he did
remember.
jump up to
Yeah,
155
yeah, yeah.
for
Jai Herbert.
like 5 years ago. He jumped up to 155 for a fight or two, and then he jumped back down.
You're talking about the Jai
Um,
Herbert fight in London?
yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah, yeah. Okay, it's like 2022. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, um, yeah, I think he wanted new opportunities, and there's the Patty Pimblett feud. That'd be pretty interesting to see him and Patty fight if Patty gets past Michael Chandler.
Do you think he
Um,
will?
yeah, I think Patty will beat Michael Chandler.
Ooh, that's bold. Oh, dang. I'm not gonna lie. I think so too, but
Yeah,
I'd want Chandler to win.
I think I think Patty beats. Not a Chandler fan, so I'm gunning for
You don't
I'm
like
gunning
Chandler?
for no,
You
no,
allowed
I'm
to
not
say
a Chandler
why?
fan. I think he's a fake person. Like everything I see of him, he just seems fake. So
I mean, a lot of people think that too. Like, I think the fight with Poirier is a good example. Like after the fight, I don't know if you've seen what I'm talking about. The clip.
yeah, he's dirty. He's a dirty fighter.
That's true.
Um, yeah, he's a dirty fighter, and I think he's just like I said. I just think he's fake. Like he puts off an act outside the cage, and then in the cage he's dirty, and he's hitting people back of the head. He's putting fingers in his mouth and people's mouths and everything else. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree. Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
I mean, obviously you've trained. I think a big one for you, right? Because I think when you first got into the UFC, some people heard I'd only heard of you with the likes like seeing you training with Stephen Thompson like in his camps or his vignettes that you post on Instagram. So what is it like what has it been like training with Stephen Thompson, G, Gino Morelli, Thomas Lane. Sorry, I think I'm butchering these names. Thomas Lane and the other fighters at Upstate Karate. Like, how has that helped you improve your MMA game and like just helped your career?
Yeah. Yeah. So Gino, he's an All-American at Penn State. So wrestling with him's been awesome. We worked me and him worked quite a bit for the jet fight just to be more offensive with my grappling.
Yeah,
Um, and then obviously with Steven, like the striking is great. Um, and Coach T and Sweet T, Steven's little brother Tony. They're fantastic. I've got a good rapport with them. I've been there almost 6 years now, and so we have and I'm really close. To Thompson's like Coach T's like my second dad. Steven like a brother to me. So we're really close, and it's good because we can be vulnerable with each other and we're willing to like patch our weaknesses and work on different things. Like I bring a different skill set than Steven's got, and Gino brings a different skill set than I've got. And so we all just we're not a big gym, but we all just kind of help and build each other and boost each other up.
yeah. I mean, obviously you were part of Steven's last fight, training camp with Joaquin Buckley. What
Hmm.
did you think of Steven's performance? Because I know a lot of people said that they thought he was up 2-0 on rounds before obviously Steven got caught. Did you see the
I know
fight?
he was up. I know he was up because I'm good friends with the commission and I talked to the commissioner and I think on one scorecard he was up 2 rounds. I think on the other two it was 1-1. But round three was leaning in our favor. We were outstriking him and Buckley abandoned the wrestling and then we just got caught. Uh Other things that people don't recognize is that training camp, like Steven went into the fight with some injuries and things like that. And
Yeah.
um not everybody's perfect. You know, you never go into a fight fully perfect.
Hmm.
There's always some nagging injuries here and there, but there was some bigger injuries going into that fight than most people know.
Is he all good now? He's all good
Yep.
now.
Yep. He's all good, and like I said, we are training right now as if we're gonna fight sometime in June. So he and I both have just kind of kicked off as if we're in fight camp.
Have you talked to him about like? Have you asked if he has an opponent in mind, or is he just at the point where whoever the UFC offers, if it makes sense, he'll say yes?
We obviously we've talked and shot names back and forth who we think would be good fights for him. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just whatever the UFC um, shoots our way.
Dude, him and Carlos Prates would be an amazing fight, man. Jeez.
Yeah, that was one of the names. That was one of the names that Steven was all for. Um, Hold on
Jeez.
one sec. So you good?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, so Prates was one of the names. I mean, Steven was like very interested in that fight. Um,
Was it Ian Gary? I know Ian Gary said he was wanting to fight Wonder Boy, but I think his ego's gone a little too bit. I don't know. He's weird.
I know back in the day, Ian Gary was one of the names, and Steven was cool with that if it happened. Like Steven's not the type that really cares one way or the other.
Yeah,
Especially at this point. He's been in the game so long. He's been in the top 10, top 15 for such a long time. He just knows that,
forever, man.
whoever's in front, whatever's the better opportunity that he's just going to take.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Wonder Boy fan. Like Joaquin and Stephen Thompson are my two favorite welterweights. So when they fought, I was like, whoever wins, I'm happy. Whoever loses, I'm sad. So I love
Yeah.
Wonder Boy. I love Wonder Boy.
Yeah. No, I honestly I think a good fight right now, and it's never happened, is I think him fighting Colby would be a good fight. Uh you look at both of them just fought Joaquin,
Mm-hmm. Fair.
and
I was there for Colby
and
Brooklyn.
yeah, and you look at who performed better, and I think it would tell a
That's
story.
true. That's true. That's true. I think Brian Battle. I know he's not like ranked. I understand that, but
We've
stylistic
trained with
wise,
Brian. Brian's come down and trained with us quite a bit in the past.
oh, he's a friend. He's more part of
We,
the.
yeah, Brian's come down and trained with us quite a bit in the past. For me, I've seen that play out many,
Mm-hmm.
many a time in the gym, and yeah,
Let's just say it's a bit one sided on one in a sense. Are you just trying to say you think how the like do you think you know how the fight would go in a sense?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
I'm
get what you're
not,
saying. I'm not.
but I mean, it's sparring. Like it's sparring, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's whatever. Like it's just gym etiquette. There's nothing. I don't want to talk about it further. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I get what
like
you're saying.
Brian. I like Brian a lot. We're cool. We've cornered at tournaments again. Like we've brought kids to different kid tournaments and cornered together. Um and we're always, we're good friends, and so it's a fight I don't think either one of them would really accept, just because there's a mutual respect for each other, and we've trained with each other several times throughout the years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think right now for Wonder Boy, I think the main fight, like when people look at Wonder Boy, like who should he fight next? I think the main name that comes up is MVP. I think that's like the one everyone wants. But I know, I believe Wonder Boy and MVP have both said that they think the fight would be boring, and they're just like,
Yeah, it's a hands guy versus a kicker, right?
yeah,
Um, it'll be five. The first 5 minutes would be a lot of feeling out. Second 5 minutes will be, a couple strikes. Third round would be small minor adjustments and a couple of strikes. So I don't think it wouldn't be like
the
Wonder
bone
Boy
burner
versus
everybody.
Holland.
Yeah, Shout out. That was a great fight though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it'd be as exciting as that. Like people expect it to be exciting, but you got two counter strikers, one who's a counter striker with his hands, one with who's like more of a kicker, and yeah,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't be as exciting as you think.
Yeah. I mean, 70, I thought this was interesting. I was looking at Tapology earlier, right? It said 71% of your wins have come by submission. Do you have a favorite submission? Like when you're fighting, do you have like a favorite submission you like going to or in training that you like working on the most?
Mm, a big guillotine guy. I've got a very unique guillotine as well that I can hit against very high level guys. But I'm more of an opportunist. Like
Yeah.
uh, I find opportunities on the ground in all these random positions, and so I'm always hunting something. Whether it's a leg, an arm, a neck, I'm always hunting something. I'm just looking to latch onto something and squeeze or pull or manipulate. So,
How how do you feel about the saying "Don't be silly, jump the gilly" by Poirier? When
oh,
you say you're more of
I've
an
jumped.
opportunist.
I've jumped. Actually, it's funny. One of Poirier's guys in Louisiana, I fought, uh, or at least he trained with Poirier for a little bit. Tyreek Malveau, and I put him to sleep with a guillotine.
You're not silly, yo, jump that gilly.
Oh yeah, all the time.
It's, I got two more questions for you, man. Obviously you said you've been in this game for a while. When you look back in your career, do you have a certain advice, like the advice that, like the most valuable lesson that you've learned that you would tell your younger self? Like if you could talk to the younger kid just becoming a pro, if you could just say one, like one valuable advice that you think would help them, what do you think it would be?
Two things. I would say, be patient. Don't rush into stupid things. And uh, you don't have to worry about any pain from fights because you quickly forget the pain.
That's
So,
true. Yeah, I think a lot of people say that. I've talked to a couple different UFC fighters that have said, the pain don't last very long. If you're in there and you're pain and it's painful, it's gonna go away pretty quick. So I
yeah.
always thought that was funny. My last question for you is, what kind of message do you have for your fans or supporters that have, followed you throughout your career and continue to support you, whether it's been in the jiu-jitsu side while you were boxing, MMA, and what can these people expect from you inside and both outside the octagon in 2025?
Well, hopefully I get back in the octagon 2025. And just, I recognize, where I'm at, and I want to keep progressing and climbing up, the
Hmm.
ladder. And I think we're there mentally now at a place where, I'm able to turn things on and be real and realistic and have realistic expectations with myself. And so like I'm just excited to perform.
For sure.
Just given the opportunity. So I think that's what people can expect is just good performances and hard, gritty fights, hopefully. So we'll see.
How many times are you looking to get in there in 2025? Just one, two, three?
Uh, I like to fight frequently. I don't like to sit. This is
Yeah.
the longest I've sat in a really long time. Um, so if I fight in June, I'd like to fight again, in August or September, and then once more in December or November. So uh, I'd like to start stacking them up faster.
So, well, guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for being on Undisputed Interviews, Westin Wilson, guys. And, hopefully one day I can commentate for one of your fights in the UFC. I'm going to college for broadcasting. I want to
Nice.
become a UFC commentator, UFC matchmaker. So hopefully one day we'll be coworkers.
All right. One day, keep working
Yes,
at it.
sir. Thank you, man. Appreciate your
All
time.
right. See ya.